Hello! I hope you guys are all okay and all good. Welcome to another video and my review of Batman Nightwalker by Marie Lu. This was one of my most anticipated reads of 2018. Batman is one of my most favoritist superheroes, both out of the DC and the Marvel universes, all the superhero universes. Batman is my favourite. I can't quite pinpoint why. I think it's the fact that he doesn't really have superpowers. Maybe that's what it is. I've always loved him even from a young age, like he was always my favourite one. I used to love Batman the animated series. I used to watch all the films, even the Batman and Robin one with Chris O'Donnell and George Clooney in it. I used to love all those films. And now when I grew up, I played all the games on PlayStation, Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. I love all that. Batman is without a shadow of doubt my favoritist superhero. So I was absolutely buzzing for this book. As with the last one of these videos, this is going to be spoiler free for the most part, but I'll give you a shout when it's going to go into a quite spoilery place. So Batman Nightwalker is about 18-year-old Bruce Wayne who, well, he's literally just at the beginning of the book has turned 18, and he is going to this benefit and he kind of gets confronted by a friend and he ends up driving away and he gets involved in this great big thing that means he has to do community service at Arkham Asylum. And while he is there, he suddenly finds himself being wrapped up in this great big mystery involving this group of criminals called the Nightwalkers. Now, here is where I am with this book. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I didn't love it as much as I really wanted to, and that's no reflection on Marie Lu's writing at all. For if you look at it as a completely separate book, it is a cracking read, it's exciting plot, the dialogue is really sparky, the characters are all really well drawn, it's really compelling reading, and while it burns quite slowly, it does burn quite brightly. For me, anyway, I was continuously intrigued about what was going on. I wanted to know where everything was going. So there was no point in the book where I thought that it had slowed down too much. It was just, it was well paced. That's the words I'm looking for, is that it's well paced. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that side of it. The side of it that I couldn't quite get on board with is that were it not for the fact that the main character's name was Bruce Wayne, or that they were in Gotham, or that there was a mention of Arkham or Harvey Dent or anything like that, this could have been any other book. It could have been any other superhero book. It could have just been a superhero YA novel, like you change the names of these main characters and it could have been a different novel entirely. And I think that's because for me, Bruce Wayne didn't quite ring as Bruce Wayne, which is and that's personal opinion, of course. It's obviously my own personal thought. It didn't take away from the fact that it was a really well written, really compelling book. No, it can't take away from that at all. I think just for me, it wasn't quite Batman, Bruce Wayne, DC Comics enough. It doesn't take away from it being so well written and fun to read, and I would 100% read a sequel, and I do want to see where this is going, but this didn't read quite Batman enough for me. I really love the characters that she put in there alongside Bruce Wayne. I love that we got to see a young Harvey Dent. I think of all the characters that she had in there, actually, I would say that Harvey Dent is the one that she got dead on, because the progression for Harvey Dent felt right to me. It felt fully correct as to where he is and where he ends up. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I'm currently reading The Long Halloween and I've read Dark Victory, which are two graphic novels that link quite well together, and they have Harvey Two-Face in them, and that's obviously where Harvey Dent's going to end up. So it's really interesting to see that. So for me, the Harvey Dent in this book and the Harvey Dent that you see in The Long Halloween and in Dark Victory, they make perfect sense to me. So in that respect, absolutely brilliant character development on that from Harvey Dent. I'm not sure who Diane is. I don't know whether Diane is new or whether Diane is from the series and I've missed her somewhere. I'm not sure. But I love what she did with Harvey Dent. I think that was really clever. I enjoyed Alfred quite a lot in this book. There's a little nudge, wink at Commissioner Gordon at the end, which is also really fun. And also gives a nice little push forward in the story, which is really quite enjoyable. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. There have been I've had some people that have said the same thing. I've seen reviews that have said the complete opposite. So I would love to hear what you think on it if you've already read it. So do let me know in the comments below about that part of it. For further reading, people have told me that I should read Wonder Woman, which is the Leigh Bardugo one. I'm really looking forward to the Catwoman one from Sarah J Maas. I would also recommend that you go and read some graphic novels from the Batman series. One of my big things that I want to do this year, I want to read more graphic novels. I want to read more Batman graphic novels because he is my fave. So I would recommend that if you are into Batman or into superheroes that you go and do the same. I don't know how Wonder Woman will measure up in terms of like what the character is like, or how Catwoman will measure up in that way as well. I don't know. I think it's quite difficult. I think it's a difficult thing to pull off, because I suppose maybe the issue is that, I don't know what it's like with Wonder Woman, I can only speak from experience in this book, is that it's about the superhero before they're a superhero. And the thing that I wanted to, I don't know, I think I wanted something different from the book. And I was never going to get that from the book, because that's not what the book was. But I think I was expecting and wanting something a bit different from it. Ugh. Okay, from this point on, it's going to get pretty spoiler filled. So if you have not read this book yet and you don't want to be spoiled, please click off this video now, and I will speak to you next time. Otherwise, feel free to stick around and we can talk through the finer points of the book, and we can have chats about it in the comments as well, if you so fancy. Okay, welcome to everyone who has joined this lovely spoiler-filled discussion of Batman Nightwalker. Thank you for sticking around. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing the audience retention on this. As I mentioned slightly earlier, but I'm going to go into it in a little bit more detail now, it's kind of, the struggle with this is that it's the superheroes before there were superheroes. And the struggle that I think Marie will have had with Batman is that the mythology is there's so much of it that it would, and Batman doesn't become Bruce Wayne doesn't become Batman until his 20s. So because he doesn't become Batman until his 20s, it's impossible really to do a YA version of an origin story for him without creating an entirely new mythology, with the only thing kind of still being there being the death of his parents in the alleyway as kind of his jumping off point. So that's kind of where the struggle comes in, I think, for Marie, which is why, arguably, the DC icon that they should have picked for a YA novel series should have been Robin or Nightwing, or someone who is actually a teenager when they take up their superhero mantle. So maybe even Batgirl. I know what they're trying to do, and I know that for like the initial 4, they've picked Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman and Catwoman, which are arguably 4 of the most well-known ones that they could have picked. But I think the problem with doing that is that you're kind of getting a story about someone before they are a superhero, and you're pitching it as a superhero novel. So while this has superhero and detective vibes in it, it didn't quite, it's not Batman-y enough because he's not Batman yet. So that's no fault of Marie Lu, and I keep saying that because the writing is great and the story still completely works. But the problem with it is that he's not Batman yet. The end is a lovely little nudge, nudge, wink, wink to the fact that he's going to become Batman. He's stood up on the roof, his hair is swooshing back, his coat is flying behind him like a cape, and he's looking over Gotham and he's basically invisible. That is a brilliant image to end on, and that is what makes me want to read a sequel, because I feel like you could carry this on into his adult years, and then you maybe could tell some other stories as well. But as it is, it's a great book, but it's not a Batman book. It's a Bruce Wayne book, which is fine, but if I wanted more Batmaniness about it, if that makes sense. I imagine Wonder Woman actually will probably be much of the same. I don't know what... Catwoman, I don't know. Like, it's... Superman, I imagine, will also be fine, because Superman, I think, is quite young when he starts out. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's a whole big thing. That's kind of one of the main things that I had with it, is that I wasn't 100% on board with it. I think it's an amazing thing that they're doing. It's possible, it's one of those things that could possibly get non-readers to read. Like someone who's not a reader who enjoys Batman might see this book and pick it up and read it, in the same way that someone who saw the Wonder Woman film and really enjoyed that might go and pick up the Wonder Woman book that Leigh Bardugo wrote. There are a lot of possibilities for this book and for this series. I think I don't know. Also, I really love Robin and Nightwing. I'd really love a Robin or Nightwing DC Icons book. I think that'd be really, really amazing. And I think that, for me, that would have made more sense in terms of telling a YA superhero story, but I do understand that it doesn't make sense in the sense that they want to tell the story of someone who is considered to be an icon and one of the big figures of the DC universe. So I completely see it from that perspective. I do totally get it. As for Bruce Wayne as a character, I think for me, the reason it didn't quite ring as true as a Bruce Wayne to me is that there were kind of points in there where he almost was, and there were points in there where he definitely wasn't. There was a thing where he was trying to categorize people, which is something that I found really, really interesting and felt very Bruce Wayne to me. But it was kind of only used occasionally. Like, it wasn't something... It was mentioned, I think, once at the beginning. Like, he sees Diane and it's like category genuine. And I was like, okay, cool. That's a really cool thing to have in there, because that feels like something that Batman would do, both in a kind of a game way and in terms of what he is like, especially with the detective skills that he develops. But that was something that wasn't kind of carried through. The romance that sort of features in it between him and with Madeline... I don't know. I don't think I was really fully into it. I don't know. It sort of missed the mark for me. I don't know. I think it's because I didn't quite get Bruce Wayne vibes from him. So Bruce Wayne falling in love with Madeline didn't quite work for me. I don't know. The thing is, this is the issue I'm having. I'm torn between really enjoying this book, thinking it is a great book as itself, and also looking too much into it because it's Batman and because it didn't feel Batman enough for me, which makes me feel like a douchebag fanboy, and I'm not a douchebag fanboy because I can acknowledge that this is a good piece of work and it is a really good book and I did enjoy it. It just missed a couple of points for me. I don't know, I would really love to hear anyone else's thoughts in the comments below about this book. I loved the inclusion of Lucius Fox in there. I thought that was a really nice touch. There was a lot of this book that I really, really liked, and a lot of kind of nods to other things that have been around the Batman universe that I really enjoyed, like I said, Commissioner Gordon coming in at the end, I thought it was great. Harvey Dent's development was great, I really enjoyed that too. Being at Arkham was also great. I enjoyed the atmosphere of Arkham. I thought was dead on. I really enjoyed the atmosphere at Arkham. It felt oppressive, it felt cold and out of date and dark, and I liked that. I don't know. I think I liked this book. Maybe I went in with too high expectations. It's possible that I've ruined it for myself by going in with too high expectations. But yeah, those are my sort of incoherent, not particularly well put together thoughts on Nightwalker by Marie Lu. If you've already read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments box below. Do put a like on this video if you did like it, and to subscribe if you want to see more, because I'm going to hopefully be doing more single book review things across the course of the year. Won't that be fun? I'll give you a hint. The answer is yes. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will speak to you hopefully soon. Bye!